Hello everybody and welcome to color grading for digital cinematography, the master class. Here we are, week 4, creating custom looks and LUTs, lookup tables. So again, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate everyone taking the time and hopefully you've been able to follow along and try some of these aspects out in terms of the color grading, working with Blackmagic Raw, and just getting a better understanding of what the camera can do, what the software can do, and color science and color grading in general. It's really not a big mystery, and I think hopefully over the last few weeks we've been able to demystify these things, and I think that's really important. Is there's nothing too complex. Everything is it's just building blocks. And on that note, just remember that you can rewatch all these episodes. So if you're here right now joining us for week 4, don't forget that you can watch weeks 1, 2, and 3 with this exact same ticket, and it stays here. So on these Vimeo links, once it's done, it's archived. You can keep accessing it by joining us and being part of this as we start. So yeah, I just want to thank all of our partners in this project. So we have the Canada Council for the Arts, and then we have all our library partners. So we have the Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, and the Wasaga Beach Public Library. I want to remind everyone that you can access these digital arts computer stations that we've built, and they're available at each library. So they're iMac 27-inch computers that are loaded with Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve Studio. So exactly what I'm demoing on here, that's what's available in the libraries too. So I encourage you to go out and use that. Now in terms of the camera, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, it's available at the Blue Mountains Public Library and the Wasaga Beach Public Library. So if you're a member there, just if you haven't done so yet, go to our website, do the proficiency test online, then you get access to it. We add your name to the people who can take it out, basically add it to your membership card, and you go from there. And then you can try all this fun stuff. So remember, you can rewatch these videos, then go take out the equipment, try the equipment out, use the equipment, and we really encourage to do that. Want to also note, we have some upcoming more kind of overview intros to the equipment. So if you're just kind of trying to figure out, hey, how does that computer system, how's it going to work when I go to the library? That's coming up in September. We're going to have these intro sessions just to go over how does what do I do with the iMac just to get started? We talk about the software, but sometimes it's just, how do you get it going? How do you start things? Same with the cameras. We're going to go over the process of taking things out and just getting everything ready. So that's all coming up in September, and we're looking to start doing some in-person sessions too at the different libraries. So check that out too. And if you're a member of any of the library partners, check out what their programming is. We're going to be programmed through them, so you can just start checking out what's available and sign up for those limited spots to be in, limited sessions. But we hope to be able to expand as we get back to the new normal as well. So that's it for what just kind of my little precursor to everything. But yeah, let's get into what we're going to do today. So we're going to look at custom looks and styles, is kind of picking up from where we were last week. And then we're going to look at creating a custom LUT, the lookup table in Resolve. Then we're going to look at exporting that LUT and importing it into the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. And that's really a fun thing, because you can get these real cool custom looks, black and white or anything like that. That's what we'll do today. Is we'll create a few, we'll export a few, and then we'll put them right into the camera, and we'll have those options available. And that way you can see what it is. And I think what's really important is, I think, again, on that kind of note of demystifying, is the lookup table is purely just an applied effect. And it's not, as we looked at with Blackmagic Raw, we're not baking it into it. So we're not making it, part of it, unless we record in video. And then with Blackmagic Raw, you can still technically turn it off. But usually, as we demoed in the first week, you're working with Blackmagic Raw format is what we highly recommend for the versatility and agility of it. And also to have work in the film in the film mode. So that way, it's the lookup table is just a preview mode. So it's just giving you a sense of what it will look like when you go back to editing while you're filming. But you can always toggle that on or off. I think that's really important to note, that you're not 100% committed to it. It's just giving you a kind of a guide, a preview of what what your footage will look like. And that's what we're looking at today. These lookup tables, these are just, again, it'd be an initial guide. Then when you're color grading, you put on those lookup tables, you know, you get that specific look, but you're still enhancing it shot by shot. So it's not just a, you know, kind of a plug-in, drop it on. I always really highly recommend that you keep working on it from there, that it's kind of a process. It's like step one, then you need to adjust a little bit because it's not a one size fits all. It's not just a baseball hat that you can kind of put on and it stretches. You need to do those little bit of adjustments as it goes. So that's the idea there. And then we'll have some time hopefully for a bit of Q&A. Also, I like to put that offline. You can email me. I'll put my email up after as well. So if you have any footage that you've worked on or that you want to you know, share, then you know, why not send me an email and we'll go from there. Even if you have tech questions, like you want to take the camera out from the library and you have questions, so you know, just loop back to me, and I'm happy to go over everything, video, everything, creator space. Just you know, any kind of questions you have, it's all linked together. So you know, computers, equipment, and lights, multi-purpose things. So all of this whole world of digital arts is very exciting because there are multiple purposes and uses. I'm going to switch over here to the software. So here I am in the project we were working on. Let me switch over. Yeah, so here we go. So here's kind of what we've been doing, and you know, this has been what we've been looking at. So we had kind of this, you know, different styles we've created here. We created like the sepia style, for example, right? So we're just going to look at now, how do we create these lookup tables in the software? And it's super easy. So in, you know, whenever you're editing, so again, the first step, so you'd be editing, and then, you know, you're working, after that, you're working on the color. So you go into the color tab, and then these clips right here, this section right here is where you have your clips. Now, if you're not seeing this in your color tab, just make sure you go up here, and this is where you can turn it on or off. So if you want, you can turn this clips on or off, but you need to see the clips. That's just the easiest way to get these custom lookup tables going. So for example, this was like our natural look, and we just brought this light down a little bit here in the background, and that's it. So we have these nodes and so on. So what I do to create the LUT is I will right click with my mouse, and I say generate LUT. Now there's a few points, and the 173365, and it kind of is based on more of like a resolution thing. I like working with a 65 point cube, and the reason being is that is going to give all the parameters within, you know, if you're shooting in 4K. So the kind of rule of thumb is like 65 you'd kind of want for 4K type, more complex things. So it's like points of adjustment. And then the 33 point cube usually would be more for like an HD kind of thing, something like that. But anyways, for these demonstrations, I just say, let's work with a 65 point cube. It doesn't make a really big file size. And now you have to choose the title. And the beautiful thing here is that it actually puts everything into the specific folder that Blackmagic Resolve uses for the lookup tables. So there's nothing really to have to find or choose or do that. So what we can do here is we're going to just go, okay, let's call this Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K Natural Cool, and we'll save that. Great. Okay, and then we got this one, this kind of more vibrant, warm looking one. So I'm going to generate LUT, right click, and then I'm going to call this one Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K Extreme Warm. Save. Okay, and as you can see, what it's doing here, it's already populating it. Natural, cool, extreme, right? So we got these lookup tables. They're already here, which is really cool. So here's the two that we just created, and they're already in my presets, just like that. And again, that would be if you have to make sure you have this LUTs window open, and then they're all there. They've automatically populated themselves. Now look at this one. So this is going to be like my sepia one. So let's generate the LUT. Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K sepia. Beautiful. And you can see it's loaded itself here as well. So you can see here, I can quickly preview, just seeing, okay, this is sepia, this is extreme warm, this is natural cool, but it's already applied, so it's kind of doubling it. And that's it. So that's how we can quickly do it. Now, let's look at this kind of style thing again. So how do how do we really create these styles? So let's just consider, let's create a couple more styles. And again, creating a specific look. So let's say I have, this warmth one here. And let's say I really want instead it to be, kind of blue, really crushed dark background. It's kind of blue-green, right? So that's another look, right? So again, now you can see how that customization of looks is really a beautiful thing, because now you can specifically decide, okay, I want it to look just like this, or I want it to look just like that. Again, we talked about mimicking different film styles, right? Like what is the actual kind of look that you want to do, and that's the fun thing of being able to generate these looks, create that custom lookup table, and then we can put that into the camera as well. So now we can shoot with a sepia mode look, this kind of blue-green look, and so on. And that's the really cool thing here, is that what we're able to do with that. So let's create one more. We'll create just a bunch, because I think it's really fun to demonstrate with kind of what's possible here. So let's see which one. And totally just desaturate this and make like a really kind of classic looking, like black and white. That'll be this one. And in this one, again, let's go with kind of a fuchsia, really grainy kind of background. And you can see that maybe this is kind of like 80s pop or something, right? But you can see, look at how different these looks are. And that's the beauty of like telling these stories in color grading, is like, you can create these really specific looks that you go, wow, like that looks really cool. Like what can we do with that? And then, then you can film with this. And so you have this look, you decide, okay, this is the kind of look I want to do. And then you can specifically film with that kind of a look, right? So we're going to just generate these LUTs. Okay, and so this is going to be like my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K green blue. Save. This is going to be my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera. So again, right click, generate LUT, 65 point, and I'm going to say Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K black. And black and white. Beautiful. And then the last one here is my neon, kind of my 80s pop. Okay, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K 80s pop. Perfect. So now you can see I got all these really fun looks, black and white. And I got this kind of palette of things. So this is how I recommend. So we've looked at, okay, creating that specific look. So figure out what's your reference. So why is the look there? Again, we're always stressing that it should be, you're trying to tell a story, right? So we're trying to tell a story. We're trying to evoke emotions, help with the story, it should enhance the story. So we shouldn't take it away. So, you know, that whole idea kind of style over substance. So we want that visual style of what we're doing with the color to maybe it's just natural. And that's why we created that natural look. Where just like, we don't want it to necessarily affect the story. We just want it to be there. We want it to look nice. And that could be what we need for the story. Then like the black and white could be like, okay, we want it to look like it's maybe in the past, or we want, you know, that's the style. Like it helps tell the story or the mood. And you know, again, we want to think about why are we doing that? Same with the sepia look. What is that doing? Like it's kind of making it vintage and so on. The 80s pop one that we just did, that violet one, what's that telling us? Maybe it's set in the 80s, and that helps with the story to give us a visual look that represents the time, right? So that could be one of the things. It could be also a color grading thing that's helping to enhance, let's say, the wardrobe. There's some sort of specific wardrobe that's very warm. We want to make it even warmer. And that kind of thing. Or it could be changing it. So maybe the wardrobe's too warm, we want to take a little bit of warmth out. Anything like that. But again, we should be always, you know, trying to use this color stuff to try and, you know, enhance and drive our story and make things better for the audience to understand and to help with the story. So that's the kind of idea. So by creating this palette, we have 6 custom lookup tables that we just generated. So they're in Resolve, and I can always go back to it. So I just open this within the project, and within other projects, I'll be able to access that same lookup table. So that's how easy it is, just to create your own looks, create your own lookup tables, and you know, decide how you want things to look. The main thing is to just, you know, understand what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, and really the important is why. Why are we trying to do that style? Now the next thing is, great, we did that, but you know, how can I maybe see what that looks like in camera and, you know, experiment with that? So that's the next thing we're gonna look at, is how can we take these 6 lookup tables and make them work. So first of all, where do these end up? So where these end up is in this folder here. And I'm just gonna go back. So it's in the hard drive. So on a Mac, it's directly in the hard drive, and it's under library, application support, Blackmagic design. Again, so we'll just kind of look at this. So it's under library, under the hard drive, application support, Blackmagic design, and then within that, DaVinci Resolve. These are the subfolders. And then they're finally the lookup tables. So in order to save this to the camera, it's a really simple process too. And I was quite amazed because I've done the custom lookup tables within Resolve. Haven't really done them necessarily just to go right into camera. I usually just shoot kind of how it is, using the existing lookup tables just to preview, and then I do this kind of stylization work in Resolve. But wouldn't it be great to kind of see, well, hey, what does my image look like in black and white? What a great tool to be able to use and make you know, use of that within it. So, you know, that's well, you know, why not? So the Blackmagic, so you can see they're all here. So there's about like 7 that I made. I think there's another like natural one, extreme, green, blue, natural, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's our 6, right? So now what we need to do is we need to put on one of our SD or CFast 2.0 cards that are in the camera. So we take one of those cards. I'm just going to load it into the Mac, and it's going to show up A007. There's nothing on it, so I haven't, you know, used it for anything. So there's no footage on it. And then what I'm going to do is just take all of these. So I'm going to click and then command 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to copy them over here. So you can also do a copy paste. I just like to drag them over. That's my style. Again, always 100 ways to do everything on any computer or on a Mac. And now I'm just going to eject that. Okay, so that's it. I've copied it to that card. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the actual camera. So here's my camera. This is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K camera that you can access again through the library partners. So Blue Mountains Public Library or the Wasaga Beach Public Library. I'm going to just go over here onto the side. Oops. And we're just going to flip this open. And so I got my SD card, and that's just going to go back into the side here. Oops, click it and it goes towards us. I'm just doing this backwards mirror image. Click that closed. Perfect. So let's just go back here. I'm just going to do one more change here in terms of these. So I'm just going to get rid of these. Now let's just do these again. there might actually be a sensitivity in terms of, you know, the 33 point cubes for the camera itself. So let's do that. Let's just try this up again and see. That's good. We're gonna actually problem solve here. Like I said, I haven't done the camera imports as much, but let's get this, generate LUT, 33 point cube. Seems to be that's what it might like more. Like here, 4K, black and white. Save. Let's do the 80s pop, and we'll just generate like 3 of these, let's say, just to keep ourselves going. Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K 80s pop. Fantastic. 33 point cube. Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K warm. Stream warm. Great. And I want to get the sepia one too. That'll be cool. So we'll just have those 4. Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, 4K, sepia, save, and let's do this blue-green. Why not? Let's do all our styles so we have them. It seems like it should work with this 33 point. Perfect. Okay, so we have that. So now, same idea. We have these ones here. So I'm going to load it back onto this card. And let's copy all of these 5 over onto the SD card. There we go. And let's do this again. So everything according to the research I did on this should now work. So let's just give this a try. So again, we're going to put this card right back in here. Close that up. Great. We're going to go over to our menu here. Go to the LUTs, import LUT, the SD card. Let's do that. Importing LUT. There we go. So it is so really important note, as I just learned. So the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K needs the 33 point cube, not the 65 point. So although that might be a little bit better in the for like higher format cameras, we can only work with the 33 point cube. So really, really good to note. And this is what, you know, we problem solved together here. Fantastic. Why not? Okay, so let's do another one. Import, and we'll do the extreme warm import. You can see it says importing LUT. That's how we know it's working. And it lets you add 10 in total extra ones. So I'm going to import the next one. Sepia, importing LUT. So that's our 3rd one. And now we're just going to go to the next screen. Import. We're going to get to the next one here, which is the 80s pop import. Fantastic. Now we're moving along really nicely. And again, that arrow there, import, and the black and white importing LUT. And voila, we have all of these LUTs now that we can choose. You can see they're all listed right here, right? So what does that do? So now as we go to these, we can say, hey, let's go to black and white. We check mark that. And now you can see we're in black and white mode on the camera. So let me switch right over to the camera. So look at that. We have our LUT. Oops. And I'm just going to turn this so that the monitor HDMI doesn't have the focus assist. There we go. So we get a nice clean feed. Look at that. So that's our LUT. Now applied from Resolve to the camera, black and white, just like that. That's beautiful. Okay, so now let's go to the LUT and we'll say, let's go 80s pop. Yes, there we go, 80s pop. Right, so we can preview what it looks like. Isn't that great? Like, that looks really cool. So now I can, you know, figure out what the style looks like, you know, and, you know, how does it look like with, you know, like on a face, right? Like, it's pretty extreme. Is that the right look? Do we want that kind of look, right? So that's a real fun style to look at. Versus, again, so here's their black and white one. Go back to that. You know, and this is kind of more traditional and standard. So, you know, the black and white will look like this, right? So just to be in focus. So that's the black and white. So, you know, it's an interesting look, and that we can test each one that way. And that's the great thing about being able to do this. Let's go to the next one here. We have them, I think, on the first page here. So blue-green, let's go to that one. There's our blue-green. Again, what does that look like? You know, like flesh tones, right? It's interesting, right? But again, we can test that. So look at that. We've created our custom looks from Resolve into the camera, and we go from there. Here's the extreme warm, and that's that extreme warm. And again, very stylized, right? Like these are very unique. They're not natural at all. They're very stylized, and we're pushing, you know, kind of the storytelling with that. And here's just our sepia, kind of that standard vintage kind of looking sepia. What does it look like, right? It looks like we're in an old movie. And that's how we can create custom lookup tables from Resolve into here. Again, just we want to go back, renege the 65.1, just the 33-point cubes will work on the 4K model specifically. Again, so how do we do that? Let's go back. How do we change these? So we just find them, we go under LUTs. So let's go from the beginning here. So now you see it like this. We can turn this lookup table on or off, right? So we can just go back to our raw, just the color mode. And that puts the lookup table. So you can see it's not, it's not like baked in. It's not a final decision. It's just, let's see what it would, you're shooting with that. So you're exposing for that look. You're working with that look, understanding that's what it will look like in post, in editing, when you apply the lookup table. Doesn't mean you have to use it exactly as is. You might add more contrast. You might, you know, put a little more color or figure out some nuances or changes shot by shot or scene by scene. You might just say, hey, I just want to keep it color. But we shot Blackmagic Raw, everything's still in this color mode. So you can go back to color. This lookup table is purely just for while you shoot, so you get an idea of what it's going to look like. So how do we change this? We go to the menu, we go all the way to the LUTs. We've imported them, and then you just choose which one you want. You hit the check mark down here, and then it goes to that specific lookup table. In this case, it's that, the blue-green. And then you go back and you can apply it again. So you go to another one, go to the menu, we're back on there. I'm gonna go to, let's go to sepia, and we check it, and it switches over to that. And now we're in the sepia mode. That's how you change them. So menu, LUTs, and then choose them, check mark, and you go from there. And again, back, otherwise we did the import, we put it on the SD card, and we import these .cube files directly into the camera. It's really that simple, it's fantastic. I really love that. And then, you know, you can just see, what does it look like? Going back to our camera mode, right? So then you can see, okay, how does this look like exposure-wise? If it's like, do I need to overexpose it a little bit? Do I make it a bit darker, right? And you can kind of decide what the best practice is for this camera and the nuances that it can achieve. So that's really cool. So, you know, thanks for taking this journey with me. I apologize again for that, the wrong cube information for this specific model. But that's how it would work. So we would do that. So how do we do that again? So we created these, we've got these .cube files, we find them in here, we copy these, put them onto the SD card of our camera, load it, import it, and then off we go. That's really how easy that is. So that's fantastic. Okay, so let me just get back here now. So you know, that takes us through our lookup table and importing it into the camera. So I just want to let everyone know, in case, you know, in terms of Q&A, I'd love to, you know, kind of, like I said, take this offline. We can spend more time. You can email me, tom@tbmcs.ca. If you have any questions, you know, just send me an email. If you have a style that you've been working on, send me an email. I'd love to see it. And you know, you can even send me the .cube file, and I can have a look and give you advice or anything like that. Any technical, any camera support issues. You can see there's always, like, you got to problem solve. Sometimes, you know, you're just using the wrong format for a specific camera and so on, but we worked this through. I did a test earlier on another camera, and it was working at 65. So again, for the 4K specifically, you need the 33 cube. So it's really good to know that. Okay, so that takes us through our masterclass in color science and color grading. I hope that was informative. Again, I'd love to hear back. Send me emails, send me information, send me footage that you've been working on in your color grades. So want to end off thanking all our partners in this project. So we have the Canada Council for the Arts. Again, we have all our library partners: Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, Wasaga Beach Public Library. Be sure to check out the digital arts computers that are available in each library, the 27-inch iMacs loaded with Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve Studio, where you can trial this color grading, color science, and color workout, create your LUTs there as well. Otherwise, you can download the free version, put it on your own desktop or laptop. And again, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K cameras are available at the Blue Mountains Public Library and Wasaga Beach Public Library. So be sure to, if you haven't yet finished the proficiency test, do that online. It's great. It takes you through the whole camera. And then go and check out the camera. In September, we're going to have some more intro sessions. Just if you want to know more about those computers I'm talking about, stay tuned, come online and join us in September. Otherwise, we're going to start some in-person sessions too, some intros on the hands-on equipment. So I hope to see some of you there. And again, everything will be virtual as well at the same time. So if you can't join us in person, you'll just keep joining us virtually, and that's great. Glad that you can do that. So again, thanks again. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you guys soon. All the best.